Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Nateanah in a different environment but with the same message. We are just trying to go through adulting while tackling and trying to survive mommying at the same damn time. I am in my altar. I'm in my church, which is the car. I spend so much time here, and we're starting a new series called Car Chats. We're gonna have real mom, woman, female conversations because I spend a lot of damn time in my car. I'm a commuter. I have an electric vehicle. So between being in the car to commute and sitting in the car to charge, I have a lot of things that go through my head, a lot of thoughts. And today we're tackling mom guilt. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about with moms. So I hope you guys tap in. I hope you guys engage in the conversation. If something sparks your interest or you hear something that is like, oh yeah, or no, I don't agree with that, comment. Let's talk about it. Let's engage with each other in the comments and let's get after it. I am going to be looking down because I came prepared with my notes. And I just want to talk to you guys through why I feel like mom guilt is quite ridiculous. Very aware that it is a very real thing. We have all, as mothers, felt some type of mom guilt, and I associate mom guilt to being a good mom. If you ever feel guilty about anything that you're doing as a mom, don't beat yourself up about it. I want to say this first. Don't beat yourself up about it because it means you care. And if you care, that right there tells me that you're a good mom. Moms who are not good don't care. They don't care. They don't care about how things affect other people. And when I say other people, I'm talking about their children. Who is calling me? Okay, rude. Got interrupted, but this is real. This is Car Chats, and we're keeping it funky. We're not editing that out. Yes, we got interrupted, but we proceed because this is the real life, okay? So, what was I saying? Mom guilt. Mom guilt basically is natural for the mom who cares, right? But I have several thoughts about mom guilt, and we're going to break it down in 3 parts, okay? So the first is why mom guilt exists. The second is the culprits behind mom guilt. And the third is why I don't subscribe, okay? So why mom guilt exists. In my opinion, mom guilt exists because of other moms. We are going to say society, yes. But we're going to talk about this in so many different ways on this channel. I don't know why other moms do this to other moms, but they get at each other so bad about motherhood. Like because we're all guilty of this. Our judgment level of other moms is at an all-time high, and I don't understand it. It's an innate woman thing. I don't know. It's like comparison killed the cat. I don't know, but we as moms are the ones creating the guilt because we're comparing. We're saying, "Oh, she did that," or "Oh, she didn't do that." And as a society, we have now taught society to have these ridiculous superhuman expectations of us that are now placed on us to do it all. Because for whatever reason, you were raised by a mom who did it all. You knew a mom who did it all. You saw a movie with a mom did it all. Whatever it was, there was messaging that told you that moms are supposed to be able to do it all. And now you think that all moms are supposed to be superhuman. As a business owner of a millennial mommyin, you would never see me put super on anything. I believe that moms are superheroes, okay? I believe that mommyin is a superpower, but you're never gonna see me put super on any of my messaging, any of my clothing for moms, because it is an unattainable, unfair, lofty goal to be super at anything that deals with another person, because you are dependent on that person to think of you in that way, when you should only be trying to do your best and think about how you feel in whatever role it is. Mom, sister, wife, cousin, daughter, co-worker, business owner. church member, like whatever it is, you should be doing your best. And I think when you put super on something, you're allowing someone else to rate you. And I just think that's unfair. Another one is, sorry, I'm distracted because these men keep walking very close to the car. Along with other moms, it sets you up for failure. Like, you're looking left and you're looking right because you're comparing. And you're looking at the mom who is cutting the sandwich into triangles and squares and dinosaurs. You're looking at the mom who's a super DIYer. She's the Pinterest mom. And that's just not you. You're looking at the mom who's into all the activities and wants to be the team mom. You're looking at the mom who is cooking things from scratch every night. What's that girl's name on TikTok? I can't remember her name, but she got super famous and she's gone viral so many times. She's a young mom and she makes all those foods from scratch, and she's kind of do like the whole Desperate Housewives on Restoria Lane type of thing. Like, she, makes her kids bread from scratch and watches the yeast rise and all that stuff. And that's great for her. She also got a lot of hate for that because people were saying that she was creating lofty expectations. But she was just sharing what works for her. Who is calling me now? Nara Smith, that's her name. I mean, you are allowing other people's journey in the mommyin space, in the motherhood space. You're allowing their journey to infiltrate you. We see this everywhere, and it's nothing wrong with taking tips and tricks from others and making it your own. But I see it all the time, even when I travel with the kids. You have other moms who are, like, they have every little single detail covered for the flight, for the airport, for the this, for the that. And then you have a new mom. I mean, I've even had a lot of moms ask me for advice in traveling because we've traveled a lot with the kids. And I always tell them, you're going to learn what works for you. Like that's one of my tips. Like, you have to do the first one to see what works for your kids. And then guess what? They're going to get older, and then something different is going to work for them. So what works for mine doesn't work for yours. Like, I remember one time I saw a mom who brought like a pepper shaker, like, the thing that you put pepper in to season food. And she put like little marbles in there, and she shook it up to keep her baby quiet on the flight. And all I could think was, isn't that making noise for the other people? But that's what worked for them. And that baby loved it. But I was like, you know what? That would drive me insane. So I say all this to say, comparison is the thief of joy, especially in the mom space. I think that we could really serve to learn a lot from one another, but be learners, be students, and take tips and tricks from people. Like, I can tell you hundreds of things that I've seen other moms do, that I do now. One thing that, before I had children, I had hired a secretary when I was working for this lawyer. I had hired a secretary, and she had twin boys, and we were living in New York. And she used to put her kids' clothes in the dryer at night before they went to bed so that it was warm. I always said that's one thing that I think that is such a sweet, like, thoughtful thing that you can do for your child to make them know they're just like a little more loved. So I do that now. In the morning, the clothes have already been ironed on Sunday. I iron their clothes in the morning. I press over their clothes so that it's warm for them to put their body in. And I just think it's the sweetest thing. And yes, it takes more time. And yes, sometimes it's annoying. But it's something I saw another mom do. I loved it. And I said, when I have kids, I'm going to do that. And I do it now. Another thing, I had never thought to wash all the grapes on a Sunday and put them in a basket. I saw my friend Mika do that when I went to go visit over her house. And I was like, oh yeah, why should I not? It's not like it's strawberries or, like raspberry or berries that's going to spoil quickly. I'm like, oh yeah, wash the grapes, put it in a little bowl, put it in the fridge. Duh. Little things. But that's not comparing. That's like getting something from someone, a tip and a trick that works for them, using that. Another reason why mom guilt exists is because of judgmental elders. Judgmental family members. And with that, it's their unsolicited advice. Okay, so we all can remember back when you had a child and then there was a family member was like, well, why don't you do it this way? Or do it like this? But I didn't ask you. You know what I mean? Like, motherhood is such a personal journey. You're learning your kid is learning you, that unless you really ask for advice, do you really want it? And the mom who wants advice, I promise she'll ask, because she'll be so overstimulated. It's not that she's asking for help, like, oh, can you help me do XYZ? She may just ask her mom or her mother-in-law or her favorite cousin who has 4 kids, hey, what did you do when your baby had a diaper rash? Hey, what did you do to get the baby to go to sleep sooner, or at nap time, or whatever. But that unsolicited advice, that turns into mom guilt, because oftentimes the unsolicited advice has a sprinkle of shame on it. Because it's like, why didn't you know to do XYZ? Why haven't you tried doing blah, 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 blah? Man, because this is my first baby and I've never been a mom before. Or this is my 7th baby and I've never been his mom before. Like, every child is different. Every parent is different. Every child and parent relationship is different. No matter how many kids you have, your relationship is going to be different with your kids. I learned that more and more every day. My daughters couldn't be more different in their rearing, in their personalities. If I compare Kinsley to Tatum at this age, like, Tatum blows Kinsley out of the water right now. But she has her sister to look at, to learn from on a daily basis. So that's that. Lastly, the reason why mom guilt exists is because of ourselves. Oftentimes, again, back to the comparison, we are putting pressure on ourselves to do X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. Nobody told you needed to color code their closet. Nobody told you needed to iron their clothes again that morning. But you want your baby to step in the pants and it be warm. So that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you feel guilty about, if you're a good mom and you feel guilty about what you're doing as a mom, oftentimes it's either one of the things I've mentioned, or it's because you're putting too much pressure on yourself. And I just think that's unfair, and we have to learn how to let go of that. Okay? We beat that. We beat that to the bush. We beat that into the bush. So now we know why mom guilt exists. Now we know the culprits behind mom guilt, the Pinterest moms, the unsolicited advisors in our family or friend group, ourselves. We'll throw society in there, yes. But let me tell you why I don't, and this is the final point, why I don't subscribe to mom guilt. I don't subscribe to mom guilt because there's enough pressure on me as a Black woman in America. There's enough pressure on me as somebody's mama. There's enough pressure on me as somebody's wife, as somebody's daughter, as somebody's business owner, as somebody's employee, as somebody's something. There's enough pressure on me in life that these children who love me down don't need me to add any more pressure to myself about doing a job that, for me, I'm going to speak for me, comes very naturally. The nurturing and all that stuff comes very naturally. And I know my kids love me. So why am I going to put extra pressure on myself to be anything more that's not needed and that's going to do nothing but disserve me? Because guess what? An unhappy mom creates unhappy children, creates an unhappy household. I think we've heard it time and time again. A happy mom, yeah, they say happy wife, happy life, but a happy mother in the household breeds children who have healthy habits about their self-esteem, understand what it looks like for how they should be treated, understands self-care, maintenance, hygiene, because they're watching someone who's enjoying life, who's loving life, and I'm not saying your life is perfect. I'm not saying my life is perfect. But if you create these unrealistic, lofty pressures for yourself, your kids are going to inherit that. They absolutely will. I believe it's scientific that the first child, automatically has more pressure on themselves because they're the firstborn. They're oldest. They should do this. They should do that. They're setting the tone, right? The second kid can kind of come in and I'm kind of hiding behind the first one and just slow playing it. Third, fourth, fifth, whatever, how many ever after, they have less and less pressure. So Think about those children watching their mother, who's putting unnecessary pressure on themselves to do things that the kids didn't even ask them to do. This mom guilt stuff don't come from the kids. So all in all, you want to remember that your best self is going to benefit your family, yourself, and your children. So that encompasses spending time by yourself, with yourself, traveling without the children, going to dinner without the children, dating your spouse without the children, a habit when they're at school, doing something that you enjoy, remembering the woman behind the mom. Because before them kids, you had goals, aspirations, maybe career dreams, you had interests. I'm not saying that every mom is this boss mom who's going to be the next Oprah Winfrey. But you used to like to bake. You used to like to sew. You used to like to write. You used to like to do something before you had these kids. And so oftentimes we as moms get lost in the title. And I think it's unfair to us. You're already going to get lost in the title because when the kids are so little, they are so dependent on you. But when you lose yourself and allow yourself to be lost for too long, it's harder to find her. It's harder to get back. So then you have a hard time being alone. You have a hard time figuring out, well, what do I like? What TV show do I even like? Because I'm always watching YouTube Kids or goddamn Miss Rachel. So it's very important that you take the time to remember, well, what are my interests? For me, for example, I love to travel. I love traveling with my husband. I love traveling with my girlfriends. I haven't tried traveling alone yet, but I do want to do that because I want to tap more into the things that I want to do when no one else is around. What do you really want to do? You woke up today, you're in Aruba. Girl, what you want to do? You want to go lay on the beach? Go lay on the beach. You want to go zip line? Go zip line. Because you get to do what you want to do because there's no one else's for you to consider. I also love self-care. And self-care looks to me as exercising. Yes, spa, getting my hair done, getting my nails done, but my nightly face routine, my morning face routine, bathing, moisturizing my skin. These are things that are all self-care to me. Putting a candle on. Cooking is self-care oftentimes because I feel like I know that I'm eating fresh for me and for my family. And again, if I have more time for myself, and I know we're all busy, but if I find time for myself and I'm tapping into the things that make me happy as a woman, I'm telling you, the rest of the family is going to benefit. Have you ever thought about, let's take a husband and a wife, for example. A husband and a wife, our pastor oftentimes will say, it's your job to outspoil one another, right? So while you're in the business of outspoiling one another, you're tapping into what that person is interested in. And they're tapping into what you're interested in, right? And why shouldn't we do that for ourselves? Why should that just be reserved for couples, for a parent and their child? You should be loving yourself the most. You should love yourself more than anybody. Next to God. That's it. The time that you spend without the kids is necessary. It's not negative. It's necessary. And unplugging, having time away, it doesn't have to be elaborate. It could be you going to go read a book in a nook somewhere, or you want to go sit in the garage in the car and going to go read. Like it's just time of peeling away. We want to make sure that we don't erase the mom behind the woman. I mean, the woman behind the mom. We want to make sure that we don't erase the woman behind the mom because she's important too. And motherhood is such a role of sacrifice. You sacrifice your body, you sacrifice your time, you sacrifice your emotions, you sacrifice your love, you sacrifice your life, honestly. And so you don't want to not know who that woman is when motherhood elevates. When those kids get older and they start to be more independent and go off. That's why they say, like with couples, got to make sure you tap in, because when those kids become 18 and they leave the house, it's like, oh, I live here with you? You got to be able to tap back in. And so it's the same with kids. Like, you should have your own interests outside of your children. Whether you're able to really like tap into them because of time, because of resources, what have you, understandable. But you should know what you like. You should explore it. So all in all, prepare to see me over the next few months enjoying my life, traveling. Anything out of this video, feel free to judge me, because I'm going to be living my life as a whole ass woman outside of being a mom. And I'm going to do that through enjoying travel with and without my family. I'm going to go out with my friends. I'm going to enjoy time alone with my husband. And life is going to go on. Life is going to go on. It's going to continue to tick and move and all the things. So I want you to share with us, your mom friends. How do you shake off mom guilt? What do you do to combat mom guilt? What causes you mom guilt? I know a lot of people will say, you know, being a working mom causes a lot of mom guilt because of the time, right? But the other thing to remember just before we close is that kids have short-term memory, and they're most likely just not going to remember. You didn't go on that trip because you felt so bad about being gone for a week, and you ask your son when they're 25 about that trip you wanted to take when they were 3. They don't remember that damn week. I can remember my mom taking trips probably starting in the 7th or 8th grade. I can vividly remember her taking trips. And one of the trips I remember only because I started my cycle. And it was only my daddy there to tell me what to do. But before that, she took trips. I just don't remember them because I was little. And also with her being gone, nothing bad happened to me. My daddy took great care of me. He went to the store and got all the things that I needed for my period. And we moved on. Life goes on, guys. And if you teach your kids that mommy, that daddy, that grandma, that uncle, that whomever has to take care of me first, Lucius, they're not only going to respect that, they're going to learn that. And they're going to start taking care of them. As they get older, they're going to know, oh, I need to tap into my own interests. Oh, I need to take time for me. Oh, I need to really pay attention to my hygiene. Oh, I want to really take time to rest. Like, these are all things that we're teaching our kids, good and bad. The good and the bad. So, I think that was enough. For our first card chat. I know it was kind of all over the place, but this is raw, uncut. Little conversations that we have while I charge. I have 1 minute left, so this was great. Yay! Love you, mean it. See you next week.